If there's one thing I can't stand, it's pretension. It's pretentious attitudes. I met this guy a few years ago. He was a big sweetheart. He was a really nice guy. He's from Australia, just like super good guy. You could tell he was genuine. He was real. He had this hunger to meet people. And I said, man, this guy's fucking cool. My girlfriend at the time, we met him. We hung out. He seemed like a super nice guy. I kept running into him, and he was always just like, kind of spiritual, kind of mystical. Hey man, how's it going? After a couple of years, I ran into him after living in Berlin for a few years, and he had changed. He was not that person anymore. He was not that person. He was arrogant. He'd changed his whole look, and he just had this whole air about him, like he's better than everybody else. And I was just like, what happened to that guy? And he's not the first person I've seen this happen to. This has happened to countless people. I've seen it happen to friends of mine, people I considered friends a few years ago. I wouldn't hang out with anymore because they changed in that respect. They seem to really think they're better than everybody else. They think they're the cat's meow, And when I was in the plane on the way back, even just for the last few days, even before I left Russia, after my amazing Russian tour, where most of my shows were sold out, where I got tons of wonderful gifts from people, and I met the coolest, most authentic, sweetest people I've ever met in my life. It was unbelievable. I had a great time. Thank you guys so much for all of you who came. Wow, you blew my mind. Wow. My plan is to go back in 6 months with a new album and tour again. But one thing I do have to say about Russia is I realize you guys are basically living under a dictatorship. I understand that, and it fucking sucks. But one thing I can say is that people are real. I don't get this feeling, which I get here, where people think they're better than everybody else, where there's this decadence and people are so spoiled with culture and spoiled with art, and they just think they're, whatever. I went to this event last night, and it was just reeking of hipster arrogance. And I was so put off. I was so put off by the majority of people I saw there, the majority of attitudes I could see spilling out of people, like this, it's disgusting attitude. And so recently, I've had a lot of trouble getting people out to shows. The last 2 shows in particular, like for a while, it's not always easy when you live in a city and you're doing shows to get people to come out to your shows, right? It's not always easy. But the last 2 or 3 in particular, it's just been really difficult. And I'm like, what is going on? Why is it so hard? I'm not even, now I've got the band, so it's a whole new look. It's a whole new thing. It's not like I'm always doing the same show. I'm always reinventing myself, adding new songs, adding new this, adding new ideas. So I had this whole new band, the Synth Pop Troubadours, and we did a show. And it was just very hard to get people out. Even though when we do shows, people love it. They seem very excited. They seem to really love what we're doing. But for some reason, our last show, we didn't get enough people to pay the deposit of the venue, which is really unfortunate. And I put a new event up, which is me and Sorsha, and it was gaining no traction. It just wasn't. It was dead in the water. And granted, I wasn't here and I wasn't able to push it as much as I possibly could. So that's one thing. But to be honest with you, I don't want to be sitting around trying to convince people to come appreciate what I do. I don't like doing that. I hate doing that. I want people to just come because they like what I do, because they're curious, because they want to experience it, But I really started thinking, I think one of the problems is that Berliners, your average hipster Berliner, they're not connected to their authentic self. And when you're not connected to your authentic self, how are you supposed to appreciate something artistic that comes from a place of authenticity? Because if there's one thing the Russians really told me that they like about what I do, they appreciate about what I do, is that it comes from a place of authenticity, because it's real, because it's full of emotion. When I go on stage, I'm exploding from the inside. I'm just like ripping out my guts and like throwing it on stage, and people feel it, and that's what connects them to it. And in Berlin, it's just become very, very, very difficult for me because I don't think people. I think that the feel of the city has changed. The attitude of the city in the last few years, in particular, has changed, and it's also reflected in the fact that Berlin is becoming more gentrified, and a lot of these really cool underground clubs are getting shut down. Like even in the next year, there's like 5 or 6 clubs that I've been to several times, really artsy, cool clubs that are all being shut down for a fucking highway. A highway. There was a mall put up recently that also replaced a few clubs. There's a whole other area which is where Urban Spree is, and all these other Cassiopeia and all these clubs that have been like legendary Berlin landmarks. It's all getting fucking mowed down and replaced with a mall or something like that, a parking lot. I don't know. It's disgusting. And so what you're seeing is a city that was rich with culture and rich with this hunger for art and music. You know, look at Bowie, look at all these people, Iggy Pop. That's just changing rapidly. And I think you see it reflected in the people who are here, because you have all these people who are just pretentious and they're decadent and they're spoiled, and they go to these events and they act like they're the best thing since sliced bread. And I don't have space for that in my life, in my heart, in my reality. I don't have space for that. So I've come to realize in the last few days, when I've really thought about this, that my time in Berlin, in terms of really working the city, really trying to make the city work for me, it's done. Because I don't have any reason to try to make this city work for me, because I don't think the spirit of the city, the soul of the city, resonates with who I am as a person. Because I'm not that person. I'm not a pretentious windbag. I'm not fake. You know, if you see my shows, like the biggest compliment, the biggest thing people say after a show is, that was so authentic. It was so real. You're really living the music. You're really feeling it. And I feel it. I'm on the edge. I'm feeling all these emotions that I'm exploding, that I'm sharing on stage. I feel it. I'm in the moment. It's an explosion of emotion. That's so important for me, you know, and that's why this recent tour to Russia was mind-blowing. That's why I was so sad when I left, because show after show after show was just so rich with emotion, and people really appreciate what I do over there, and it really resonates. They love it. They give me tight, warm, heartfelt hugs. They give me gifts. They say the nicest, kindest things. They write unbelievable things on my wall. They send me photos, and it's just it's an authenticity. It's an authentic connection that I don't get here. I do have great shows. I have had great shows. I do have great fans, but the city's becoming difficult, and I don't want to keep fighting anymore. Does it mean I'm going to move? I don't know, because I'm very comfortable here. I like my rent. I like my roommates. And I like, even this room itself. I went viral with the video that was filmed in this room. You guys probably recognize these walls. I went viral with this video. Shit's fucked. And for me, there's a special energy in this house. And I do like the people who I invite over, the people who come over, my friends, and you know, my family's come to visit me and so on, and friends of my roommates, and very special place, very special people. I love it. But I'm living in a city whose values I don't resonate with. A city who is so decadent, so spoiled. And you could say it's the West. You could say like LA, for example, Vancouver, all these cities, you know, a lot of them do tend to have this pretentious vibe. And I went to art school. Second year of art school, I started to really notice the pretension, because there were a lot of people in art school who were just like soulless, pretentious sociopaths, who think their art's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm done with it. I'm done with this attitude. I don't want it in my life. I don't want it. So I'm going to focus on playing music in the Baltics, in the Ukraine, in Russia, other parts of Europe. I'm going to go around, but I'm not interested in Berlin. I'll do maybe 1 or 2 shows a year in Berlin, but I'm not. And maybe if people invite me, I'll play a show, you know, but I'm not going to do a show where I have to work to get people to come, because it's not worth my time. It's not worth it to me to write people, to focus on trying to wake people up from their hipster stupor. It's not my job. It's not my fucking job. So that's basically it. If you guys live in Berlin, or if you've been to Berlin, or if you have lived in an area where there are a lot of hipsters or a lot of like really pretentious people, let me know your experiences. I'd be curious to know. And if you agree with me or disagree, I also want to know what you think. Have you felt this in Berlin? Have you felt, if you're in Berlin, have you felt a change? Because I definitely have. I definitely have. And what I also want to know is, I want to know if you guys know of any places, of any countries or cities where people are just hungry for authentic art. Let me know in the comments. I want to keep playing for the rest of my life. This is my job and I love doing this. But I don't want to play for hipsters, and I don't want to focus on a decadent, spoiled society full of people who think they're better than everybody else. I'm done with that. Peace out, guys. Thank you, Russia. I had a brilliant time.